is finally cooling off. Nice crisp 60 degrees. What is going on today, guys? Welcome back in the garage Monday afternoon. 08's just getting an oil change, nothing special there. Yes, we drive that thing a lot for work, so it gets its oil changed every 5,000 miles very, very frequently. But today we're gonna be hopping right back on the dually. Gonna try and get this thing knocked out. Our sway bar is still MIA, but it is supposed to be in tomorrow. So we're gonna try and get this thing wrapped up 90% this evening. Shouldn't be too terrible. But here is what we are starting with. So we have the coils to replace, the shocks, the track bar, the steering damper, and mount our reservoirs for the King 2.5 shocks, which I honestly think might take the longest time. They have to bolt somewhere in here. You got to drill 2 holes in this little lip here. Kind of have to cut your inner fender liner out, which I did not know about, but I can see why those things are really, really beefy. So we have already started to kind of disassemble this a little bit. We already undid our shock top right there. That's an 18 millimeter down here. 21 on that bolt, that takes your shock off. And according to Thurin, their instructions say that we need to pop off the track bar bracket on the frame side, undo our sway bar here to drop our axle down far enough to get the coil out. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, they have a side note in here for these brake line brackets. There's a bolt right here, and then there's also a bolt right here that you want to disconnect to try and loosen up so the axle can sag far enough down without putting too much tension on those. So we're just gonna jump right into it, try and get this done, go from there. Completely torn down and disconnected besides the springs. Ended up taking out the factory sway bar completely. That's just held in by 4 15 millimeter bolts, 2 there, 2 on the other side. So that's completely out. Track bar is completely out. That is a 27 millimeter. There's the other hole right there. You do have to turn the wheel to try and gain access to that right there, but if you turn the wheel to the right, you'll be able to get that out. My plan was to try and just do one side at a time and kind of lower the one side of the axle, push it back up, and leave that other side alone. But what happened was I lowered the axle down with everything still connected on the other side. It didn't drop it far enough to even get the spring out. So what I ended up having to do was grab another jack stand, support the frame underneath here, and then I went ahead and disconnect everything on this side. So then when I lower the axle, this thing should pretty much come down way far enough to get the coil springs out and put the shocks in. The challenge is going to be trying to jack the axle back up while we're trying to watch. What we're going to end up doing is bolting the shock down here first and then trying to guide that up into the hole in the tower. But as you can see, the axle gets kind of wonky when it starts to get compressed and drop down. So that is going to be the fun part, but that's where we're at right now. I'm going to drop the axle down far enough to try and grab maybe the other side first, put the coil spring back in, and kind of see what we got to do. The other fun part is going to be trying to mount this reservoir mount. I think you have to go onto the back side here and kind of figure all that out. Yes, we did have to powder coat these black, of course, but we also don't want to scratch any of this stuff going in. So we're going to try and do it very gently and carefully and see how we end up. All right, so axle completely dropped out, and as you can see now, I want to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You can see how the front perch goes completely crooked, and you can see kind of where we're at right here. So this kind of gets lined up like that. That spring kind of looks like that when you're down that far. So we're going to go ahead, we can grab these completely out now. Make sure we take our isolators. These have a little indicator. Those can go right back up inside that hole, so we know how to line up the other ones. Well, they probably won't stay, but you know what, you get the point there. The other side, as you can see here, that side is ready to come out as well. Okay. Completely torn apart. Alrighty, one small victory for Greg complete. We may have had to use the trans jack, which is totally not rated for that much weight. We may have had to pick up the side of the frame to lift up the truck a little bit more, because when we set the jack stands, as you can see, the axle being completely almost all the way on the ground, we needed to move the truck body up a little bit more to get the bigger springs in, and with the axle being on the ground, we needed to go up on the frame. So I totally could use another jack or two, which I have a plan for. We might need to go get another couple jacks, but we'll take care of that. But the shocks are in. We got the lower bolt started. That is in there, and as you can see, if I were to lower this down, it's much easier to try and set that bolt and then put this up in the hole there. But we have everything lined up with our isolator bushings up top. You can see how wonky the rear gets. It's sitting on the perch, so as we lift up, that'll straighten itself out. Other side is set as well, and we are ready to jack this thing back up and get some weight back on it. So, but that is a big, by myself, one jack on the floor. It's not as fun as if you were to have a lift, but we will make do as we always do, boys. All right, time to get some more stuff done. This evening up. I apologize for the lack of maybe work footage and just updating you guys, but trying to hustle and get this stuff done. But we are good to go. We got pretty much what I wanted to try and get done. We got 90% of it done. So all of the weight, as you can see, is back on the front axle, which would basically mimic if the tires were on. And yes, we are going to paint these. That's why the wheels are maybe not back on. We gotta do something about those. So coils done. Shocks done. As you can see, I started to I roughly trimmed. Don't judge the trim job right now. We gotta actually, I'm gonna take a Dremel and try and make this really, really nice. I only rough cut it to try and fit that bracket in, but the shocks are tight. We actually got the track bar in, we got the steering damper in. All of that stuff is torqued to spec. I believe the track bar was 215 foot-pounds. The steering damper is 75. Let's try and take a look underneath here. That dang tie rod happens to hide all the niceness hiding in there, but that's all set. Got the Thurin track bar all done, all torqued. We are definitely in good shape to just slap on our sway bar tomorrow when that comes. Hopefully that comes. UPS, you guys know them. But as you can see, the coil sitting pretty much perfectly straight. Here's a little bit better shot of how angled those coil buckets are on that front axle, but these shocks look insane. It's a little hard to do, and especially try and bolt that bracket up, but that is how the shock is going to sit with that 90-degree fitting facing out. And then if you can see the, I just dinged that up. I didn't mean to do that. But the reservoir is going to sit right like there in that bracket. So got the holes drilled on this one side. Want to definitely take my time, not at 11 o'clock at night, try to quickly Dremel it out. So we're going to take some time, do that tomorrow. Hopefully the sway bar is in tomorrow. But we are looking in very, very good shape. All right, guys, so to end out the night, of course, I didn't hit the record button. It is recording now. I recorded this whole clip, and then it was never recording. So I'm glad that I actually caught it. But we had this package from our man Kyle in Lake Forest, California. I gotta read the note over again to you, but it's awesome. You guys are really gonna like this. Hi Greg, hope you guys enjoy this exhaust tip mug. These mugs are only going to be a one-time batch, and I only have a handful of them left by trade. I'm a professional metal fabricator, so these are 100% handmade in the USA. Everything on this mug is stainless steel, double-walled for great insulation. They should easily last a lifetime. He's selling these mugs on his eBay account, and I'll put his name up on the screen here. I would appreciate it if you share this with your YouTube channel. And then he goes on to say that because of my channel, he sold all of his Chevys and he bought a 06 Ram Cummins. That's a great choice, Kyle. Check out, it's a good thing it's built well. Look at this mug. Shaped like an exhaust tip, but a mug. Look at these. Russell doesn't have anything on my man Kyle's welds. Check these things out. This is really cool. This thing's awesome. Thank you insanely very, very much, Kyle. I really, really appreciate it. This will definitely help after those long days. This is awesome. It is now 11 o'clock. This has been a pretty late night at the shop. Just been trying to hustle and get this thing done so we can take this thing on its maiden voyage and see how well it rides. I'm extremely pumped. But we got some stuff done. We definitely got some stuff done. Oil changes done on the 08, so we're just knocking things out left and right. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow with another video. Hit that thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. See you guys tomorrow. See ya. Alrighty, guys, we just got home, and I could see it from the road. We have a huge box here. Let me guess. That is the sway bar. Son of a...